What if one of the simplest things sitting in your kitchen spice cabinet right now could change the way your mouth feels, the way your breath smells, and even the way your body handles everyday stress and inflammation? And almost nobody is using it the way it was meant to be used? Most of us treat cloves like background flavor. We stick a few in a pot of rice, toss them into holiday baking, and forget they exist the rest of the year. But for centuries, people across Asia, the Middle East, and parts of Africa have done something very different with this little dried flower bud. They place a single whole clove under the tongue and leave it there for a few quiet minutes. Not chewed into a paste, not swallowed whole, just held. And what happens in those 5 minutes is quietly remarkable once you understand the biology. Hello everyone and welcome to Health Journey, where we bring you science-backed health information to help you live a healthier and longer life. I'm genuinely glad you're here because today we're going to look closely at a practice that sounds almost too simple, yet rests on real chemistry, real anatomy, and a growing body of research. We're talking about putting one whole clove under your tongue for about 5 minutes and what actually happens in your mouth, your saliva, and, to a limited degree, your bloodstream. Before we go any further, a clear note: nothing in this video is medical advice. Cloves are a food spice. They are not a medicine, not a cure, and not a substitute for professional care. If you have dental pain, bleeding gums, digestive issues, blood sugar concerns, or any ongoing health condition, please talk with your dentist or doctor. What we're exploring is traditional use supported by laboratory and early clinical findings, not miracle claims. Let's start with the clove itself. A clove is the unopened flower bud of the evergreen tree Syzygium aromaticum. When dried, it becomes that familiar dark brown nail-shaped spice. Its power comes largely from a compound called eugenol. Eugenol makes up the majority of the essential oil inside the bud, often 70 to 90%. This single molecule is responsible for the warm, slightly numbing, spicy aroma that fills the room when you open a jar of whole cloves. Researchers have studied eugenol for its antioxidant capacity, its ability to slow the growth of certain bacteria, its mild anti-inflammatory effects, and its local anesthetic-like action on nerve endings. Now, why under the tongue? The tissue beneath your tongue, called the sublingual mucosa, is thin and packed with tiny blood vessels. This is the same route doctors sometimes use for medications that need to enter the bloodstream quickly, such as nitroglycerin tablets for chest pain. When you place a whole clove there, the natural oils begin to leach into your saliva. Some of those compounds contact the oral tissues directly. A portion may be absorbed across the mucosa. The rest mixes with saliva and is eventually swallowed, so you still get digestive exposure. It is not a high-dose pharmaceutical delivery system. It is a gentle, sustained release of aromatic compounds right where many people need support most, the mouth. Let's walk through what typically happens in those 5 minutes. First, saliva production increases. The strong aromatic stimulation triggers the salivary glands. More saliva means more natural washing of food particles, more buffering of acids that attack tooth enamel, and more delivery of the protective proteins and enzymes that form part of your oral immune defense. People who struggle with dry mouth often notice the difference almost immediately. That extra moisture alone can make the mouth feel cleaner and more comfortable. Second, the eugenol begins to interact with the bacteria that live on your tongue, teeth, and gums. Laboratory studies and some clinical rinsing trials have shown that clove extracts and eugenol can reduce levels of Streptococcus mutans, one of the main bacteria involved in tooth decay, as well as certain other oral pathogens linked to bad breath and gum inflammation. Holding the clove in place keeps those compounds in contact longer than a quick rinse and spit mouthwash. The result, many people report, is fresher breath that lasts longer than mint gum, because the cause is being addressed rather than simply covered up. Third, there is a mild soothing effect on irritated tissues. Eugenol has been used in dentistry for generations, often mixed with zinc oxide as a temporary filling material or applied carefully for short-term toothache relief. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has noted that the evidence is not strong enough to rate eugenol as definitively effective for toothache pain. Yet traditional and clinical experience continues. For minor sensitivity or the everyday irritation that comes from aggressive brushing or seasonal dryness, the gentle contact can feel calming. It is not a substitute for seeing a dentist if you have sharp pain, swelling, or signs of infection. Fourth, a small amount of the antioxidant compounds enters your system. Cloves rank extremely high on measures of antioxidant capacity, compared with many common foods. Antioxidants help neutralize free radicals, unstable molecules that contribute to everyday cellular wear and tear. One clove will not transform your entire oxidative balance, but it adds a concentrated little boost that fits easily into a broader pattern of eating colorful plants, spices, and whole foods. Beyond the mouth, traditional systems have long used cloves for digestive comfort. Eugenol and related compounds appear to stimulate digestive secretions and may help relax intestinal smooth muscle in animal models. Some people find that placing a clove under the tongue before or after a heavy meal reduces the sense of bloating or sluggishness. Human data are still limited, so this remains supportive rather than proven therapy. The same caution applies to blood sugar research. Small human trials and animal studies suggest clove extracts may help blunt post-meal glucose rises and support insulin sensitivity. But the amounts used in studies are often higher than one clove, and cloves should never replace prescribed diabetes medication. Anyone managing blood sugar should discuss spice use with their clinician. Now let's talk about who might benefit most from this simple habit and who should be careful. People who deal with morning breath, mild gum sensitivity, dry mouth from medications or aging, or a general desire to support oral microbial balance often notice the most immediate differences. Those looking for gentle digestive support after rich meals sometimes find it helpful. The antioxidant contribution is a quiet plus for anyone already focused on reducing chronic low-grade inflammation through diet and lifestyle. On the caution side, pure clove essential oil is highly concentrated and can irritate or damage oral tissues if used undiluted or repeatedly. We are talking about whole dried cloves only. Prolonged contact with the same spot under the tongue can cause local irritation in sensitive individuals. So 5 minutes is a reasonable upper limit for most people. And you should stop if you feel burning or discomfort. Clove contains compounds that may slow blood clotting at higher doses, so anyone on blood thinners, preparing for surgery, or living with a bleeding disorder should check with a doctor first. Young children should not be given whole cloves because of choking risk. Pregnant and breastfeeding women are generally advised to stick to normal food amounts of spices and consult their healthcare provider before using larger medicinal quantities, and never fall asleep with a clove in your mouth. The risk of choking or aspirating is real. Common mistakes people make are easy to avoid. Some crush the clove into a powder and hold the grit, which can feel abrasive. Others use multiple cloves at once or leave them in place for half an hour, increasing the chance of irritation. A few people reach for concentrated clove oil drops and place them under the tongue. That is a different and riskier practice. Stick to one whole, clean, food-grade dried clove. Place it gently under the tongue, toward the side if that feels more comfortable, and simply rest. You can move it slightly if one area starts to tingle too strongly. After 5 minutes, remove it. You may swallow the saliva that has collected. Many people do. Rinse if you prefer. Let's look at the wider picture of oral health because the clove habit works best as one small piece of a larger system. Your mouth is the gateway to the rest of your body. The same bacteria that contribute to gum inflammation have been linked in research to higher systemic inflammation markers. Poor oral hygiene is associated with greater risk of certain cardiovascular and metabolic issues, though causation is complex and still under study. Daily habits matter more than any single spice. Brush gently twice a day with a soft brush, clean between teeth with floss or interdental brushes, stay hydrated, and see a dentist regularly. Limit frequent snacking on sugary or acidic foods that feed the bacteria that produce enamel-eroding acids. If you have persistent bad breath, bleeding gums, or loose teeth, those are warning signs that need professional evaluation, not more cloves. Nutrition supports the same goals. Foods rich in vitamin C help maintain healthy gum tissue. Leafy greens, berries, citrus, and bell peppers are excellent sources. Calcium and vitamin D support the bones that hold your teeth. Omega-3 fats from fatty fish, walnuts, and flax may help moderate inflammatory pathways. Polyphenol-rich foods such as green tea, berries, dark chocolate in moderation, and a variety of herbs and spices add to the antioxidant pool. Cloves fit naturally into that pattern. You can also use them in cooking, simmer a couple in chai, add them to stews, or grind a small amount into spice blends. The undertongue method simply gives a more concentrated local exposure. Lifestyle habits amplify everything. Chronic stress raises cortisol, which can affect immune function and even saliva composition. Short daily walks, adequate sleep, and simple breathing practices help keep stress hormones in a healthier range. Smoking and heavy alcohol damage oral tissues and raise cancer risk. Reducing or quitting is one of the most powerful moves you can make for mouth and whole body health. If you grind your teeth at night, a night guard from your dentist can protect enamel and reduce jaw tension. Myths versus facts are worth clarifying because the internet loves dramatic claims. Myth: putting a clove under your tongue will detox your entire body or melt fat. Fact: there is no evidence for systemic detox or weight loss effects from this practice. Your liver and kidneys handle detoxification. Cloves do not replace them. Myth: cloves cure cavities or reverse gum disease. Fact: they may temporarily reduce bacterial load and soothe discomfort, but cavities require professional treatment and advanced gum disease needs dental care. Myth: more is better. Fact: one clove for a few minutes is the traditional and practical approach. Higher doses of concentrated oil carry real risks of tissue irritation and, in extreme cases, liver stress. Myth: it works the same for everyone. Fact: individual responses vary. Some people love the sensation and notice clearer breath. Others find the flavor too intense or experience mild tingling that bothers them. Listen to your own body. Practical daily tips that fit real life. Keep a small jar of whole cloves in a cool, dark cupboard. In the morning or after brushing at night, place one under your tongue while you check messages or sit quietly for 5 minutes. If the taste is strong at first, start with 2 or 3 minutes and build up. Pair it with a glass of water afterward. If you cook with cloves regularly, you are already getting some systemic exposure. The undertongue method is an optional local boost. Track how your mouth feels over a week or two. Freshness of breath, comfort of gums, and overall oral cleanliness are the easiest markers to notice. Key takeaways, woven into everyday language. A whole clove held under the tongue for about 5 minutes releases eugenol and other aromatic compounds that can increase saliva, support a healthier oral bacterial balance, freshen breath, and provide mild local soothing. The practice is low cost, low risk for most healthy adults when done with whole cloves in moderation, and it rests on both traditional use and modern laboratory findings. It is not a cure-all, not a replacement for brushing, flossing, or professional dental care, and not a treatment for serious conditions. Safety matters. Avoid concentrated oil under the tongue. Stop if irritation occurs, and check with a healthcare professional if you have medical conditions or take medications. If you try this, pay attention. Notice whether your mouth feels cleaner an hour later. Notice whether morning breath is milder. Notice whether the simple ritual of pausing for 5 minutes becomes a small anchor of calm in your day. Small, consistent actions often matter more than dramatic one-time interventions. Your body responds to patterns. The pattern of how you clean your teeth, the pattern of what you eat, the pattern of how you manage stress, and yes, the occasional thoughtful use of a spice that has been valued for centuries. You already have everything you need to begin. 1 clove, 5 minutes. A willingness to observe. That is enough. If this conversation has given you a clearer picture of what cloves can and cannot do, and if you found the science and the practical details useful, I'd be grateful if you would like this video, subscribe to Health Journey so you don't miss future evidence-based explorations, leave a comment telling me whether you've tried this practice or what other everyday spices you'd like us to examine, and share the video with someone who might appreciate a simple, grounded approach to oral and everyday health. Your support helps us keep bringing careful, honest information to more people. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of your mouth, take care of your body, and I'll see you in the next video.